Alright, this will be the trade recap for Monday, July 28th, 2025. Looking at the pre-market, price gapped up over the weekend due to some tariff-related news with the European Union. Filled that gap overnight, and my main watch was this 6420 level, which was a previous all-time high, pretty good resistance turn support. So my main watch was if price stayed above this level, if it came down, tested, bounced, showed strength from a higher time frame perspective, I'd be looking for longs, and if this level could break to the downside and hold as resistance, I would be looking for shorts. And with that being said, there was news at 10, and there's a lot of other stuff going on this week. We've got FOMC, some PMI data, and then I believe on Friday there's a bunch of tariff news coming out. So along with being at all-time highs, not insane conditions. So market opens up pretty slow, actually very slow. Honestly, not much volume is coming at all today, but this volatility was dead. And then we kind of make this low of day from this little consolidation range. But on this break of low of day, when we do start getting pretty close to this 6420 key level, I start to see some possible confirmation of a reversal, which led me to taking this position a little bit earlier than kind of what I was planning for in the higher time frame perspective. So looking at the book map, there's that opening consolidation. You see one buy and push that fails. And then when we get this aggressive sell-off, past low of day, just about 5 points from the key level, you can see this was at like the 940s. Go back into here. This 940 through 943 area, lots and lots of selling came in. Strong selling, hitting the market in this area on this sell-off and this sell-off and this sell-off. Yet the market's not really pushing lower at all, and it's holding price down here. So I start to view that as trap sellers, possible reversal signal, and I get in my long right down here. On top of this, there's also this thick bid right here, which does get filled, but after it gets filled, price is not able to break down below that level on any of the following retests. Each time with this aggressive selling, you can see this is 950, this is 955. Look here at the tape. 950, another aggressive sell-off comes in. 955, another aggressive sell-off comes in. And then here's the final one at 10. On some news, didn't quite get down to that level. But every time these aggressive sell-offs come back down here and retest where this bid was, they get absorbed and trapped. So I'm seeing this as a sign of a passive buyer that's absorbing all these sell-offs, and these sellers are going to get trapped if this thing can rally to the upside. Now, in terms of exit execution, I wanted to target first the 32s through 35s, which is this range, and then I was looking for like this 38.40 for my final target. And I got my skill outs very, very early, and I'll explain why. So this is our entry, 943. Get this push, reject. Get another push, reject. At this point, especially with all these things I said earlier, like being at all-time highs, lots of news this week, and now we're consolidating on lower volume. At this point, when I'm about to get stopped out down here, I tell myself this trade, if this trade doesn't stop out, it's not about maximizing reward, it's about reducing risk effectively. Because if this does hold there is a very likely chance we might bounce right up to here, reject, and then dump. So when this level breaks, I start getting out a little bit of my position. I get out a little bit more on this run up, and then I'm able to get out a little bit more on my runners. So look at the execution. Here's my entry down here at 943. Get that initial pop, retest, absorb sellers, retest, absorb sellers. this little retest right here at 10, not all the way down, but sellers are absorbed, and then we start to finally rally up. And another reason why I got out here, as I said, it could easily reject here, and the break of this level was extremely slow. Look at how like wicky and just small these candles are. There was buying coming in, and it wasn't getting much of an aggressive follow through. Very similar to why I got long here from the selling not getting follow through. So that was a clear sign for me to start scaling out some of my position, just on that kind of weak break to the upside. And then these two ended up getting taken about at my target area. Trailing stop loss on that, trailing stop loss on that. Really just, this trade really was the conditions for this trade are really good for scalping, being very tight on risk, not looking to hit a home run. And that's how you had to trade it. And that still applies. I mean, this day is in the 10-point range. It's not really looking too pretty to trade. There could be, I'd say it would be pretty bullish if this high of day resistance is able to get taken out, act as support for another push higher with that higher time frame bias alignment that we're bouncing off of this key level. But yeah, that's probably the only other thing I would be watching, but I'm hopping off here anyway. So peace. We'll be back tomorrow.